One might say we're even having a bonanza here. It's just been a good old time. We're having fun. People are rolling dice and bumping into each other and forgetting triggers. And it's like every other amazing X-Wing event, right? In that regard, there's nothing better. And so I'm been joined by Matt. Matt is here for round 4.
Hey, would it be an X-Wing tournament without missed triggers?
Certainly not. I mean, I brought Fed Rao to PAX, Fed in the Fang Fighter for Rebels, and forgot his ability like 3 times.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Scumfin. I was like, how do you forget Scumfin's ability?
Right. We are starting. We are moving here. So this is the 2-3-0s here. Andross, captain of Order 66, the conference final team I'm playing against for KDB here in the Draft League, playing Resistance here with 2 Star Fortresses. My goodness. Going up against Aeriic and his evil Empire squad. Betting he's a
fellow meatbag, Aeriic.
He is a fellow meatbag. Yeah, he's a meaty bag, as they like to call him. This just sounds so wrong. Betting is open, everybody. Get your bets in. Do you want to bet on the guy that would betray the entire Jedi Order or the guy that is a meatbag? Difficult decision there.
I'm gonna bet on my fellow meatbag. I don't.
Wow, really? That's just so shocking. I'm gonna have to bet against you though to cancel out your bet. That's not how that works, but it's not like voting.
Although this resistance list is got some tricks up its sleeve. I'm gonna start reading the Empire list if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
All right, so we have a custom loadout. We'll say custom loadout. Everybody's taking the same loadout on this Soontir Fel. Just 4 points, but you get an I-6 for 4 points. That's pretty good. And then you have Juno Eclipse in the X1 with proton rockets, fire control system, and Ruthless. Also in the X1, you have Merrick Steel with proton rockets and fire control system. Doesn't have enough to be Ruthless as Juno Eclipse. And then you have Tomax Bren with True, it's the standard loadout guy. He's got True Grit, Plasma Torps, Ion Bombs. And then you also have standard loadout Mouse Monero. Who has no escape, outmaneuver, and fuel injection override. His ability, if you don't know it, is whenever he performs a evade action, he gets a calculate, I believe. So he's got triple action economy.
All right, we've got on the other side here, Oler bring in 5-point Poe. How Poe can you go? Here's a hope Poe been popular today. 5 points with limited loadout, but enough for R4 Astromech, Predator, and Heroic. Then we've got Finch Dallow. Send him to the Dallows if he dies quickly.
To the Finch Dallows.
Yeah, right. Be careful not to Finch. He's got Paige Tycho, or Tico. I say Tico. I just said Tycho. I usually say Tico. I got that wrong. Veteran turret gunner, Perceptive Copilot, and Pattern Analyzer. And then we've got Cat. Could be Maya, could be Cleo, could be one of your cats. With Electronic Baffle, Veteran Turret Gunner, and Perceptive Copilot. And then, of course, how could we forget about the Logistics Division pilot? That sounds like you're like one of your coworkers who works in marketing who has a super generic title that you don't really know what it does. Like you're like, oh, I'm a Logistics Division specialist. That is this I1 generic in the couch in the
good old Loggy.
Yeah, good old Loggy with R3 Astromech. Was that G1 or M9G8 Novice Tech and Ion Cannon? Ion Cannon though, how about that? How about it? Seems pretty good.
So this is really good. Like this, I can understand how this list is going to catch people off guard because that Logistics Division pilot with R3 and M9G8 is able to lock both of the Star Fortresses, and the Star Fortresses both have Veteran Turret Gunner.
Yeah,
so they get a 3-die attack. And they both have Perceptive Copilot. So they have a 3-die attack with a focus and a reroll, then a 2-die attack with a focus and a reroll, and it's with both of them. So you have a lot of dice being thrown at who has the LDP locked up both of the Star Fortresses. That way they get the maximum amount of rerolls, and it's a lot to take. To take defensively, you can eat a lot of damage. So Aeriic is going to really have to lay in. I mean, with proton rockets on a large base, he's got, and the plasma torps from Tomax, there is potential that he could wreck some shop on those.
Wreck some shop.
Yes, wreck shop on those Star Fortresses before they even get to fire, because the majority of his list is I5 and up. But yeah. Yes, Harvard Dan, there's Commander Poe, who, as the chief reviewer of the XWA beta points feedback, he is the most common resistance pilot taken. But nobody complains about him on either side. The people playing as him or the people playing against him. So he seems to be pretty fair for what his cost is.
Whatever you guys are drinking, if you have a beverage, cheers. Hope you guys have
Cheers,
enjoyed
I have water.
the X-Wing. Cheers, Matt. Cheers for that water. Matt staying hydrated. I am not. We switched jerseys here also. Last round I was wearing this one as well. We've got our black with the blue trim jersey now. We've got 312 on the back as well there. Love our jerseys. We're a snazzy bunch is what I've declared. But I also firmly believe it,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, back to X-Wing. I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Stop talking about yourself. We get it. You're all that, but you're also not. We get it.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's going to hinder Andrew this round is the rock placement, because it's entirely possible that Cat doesn't get shots this round, depending on how fast and which direction Aeriic goes.
I mean, there's a 5 straight focus, a barrel roll. Oh, never mind. I was thinking Merrick 5 straight, do the little linked action. You could probably line up bullseye, but we're gonna scramble here. I think maybe that's tough. I don't know. You're gonna get lit up.
Yeah, you're gonna get lit up.
I think you got to do the barrel roll here. Focus, link roll.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yep.
Yep. He is out of arc now.
And is that going to block Juno? I'm curious what Juno was doing here. Did Juno move already? No.
I think he's wondering if he may have done that now.
Yeah. That's the thing. You get so preoccupied, like, making that decision to get out of an arc, and then you realize you just set yourself up to get blocked.
He's moving forward.
If Juno did a 2 straight, it might clear.
Yeah, if Juno did a 2 straight, she's fine. We got a 3 bank from...
Yeah, that's going to be all the nonsense.
True grit, or not true grit, but yeah.
His ability, essentially.
Use his ability, and you're just going to try and light up Finch there.
Oh, it's a 3. Oh, it does bump.
It does.
Does bump. Uh-oh.
Unfortunate.
Punished. Shield.
Takes a damage. I think that's your target this round for...
for Andrew. And
for Finch.
Andrew Dallow.
And
I don't think he's just going to focus lock. Yep, Juno.
Yeah, it's just say goodbye, Juno. And then we got a 4 straight from Suntir. If he boosts, he'll get
time to boost.
Bullseye, I believe.
Oh, yeah, you believe. Easy bullseye, my friend. Easiest bullseye of the year. In worst case, he can just barrel roll too. No, he doesn't need to. Yeah. A little Akko Taco for next turn. I actually would. Well, barrel roll you won't.
Actually, I would barrel roll. I think that's a decent call.
Does he get bullseye if he barrel rolls though? Maybe. I don't know.
I would think so.
You just really can't afford to sit. That rock is awful for you. You got
there. It is.
And no, sir, he will not get bullseye.
Nope.
But
That's
range
still
one.
fine. You're probably
Yeah.
range 1 into a single agility ship.
Soon tier fell.
And
Or rather, Poe's first player. Or Andrew is.
Yeah.
So.
I thought they were going to check bullseye just in case, but
Yeah,
they
they
probably know
clearly
better.
see it. I guess. Spend for a hit crit here. Juno taking hit crit, dodges 1.
Yeah.
But that bump is gonna loom so large, and it is a stun, but don't be bad at the game. Just a blank crit. Now, Soontier hoping for some, at least he'd love to see 3. 4 would be the dream. What's expected here? 2 hits?
Yeah, 2
hits.
Well,
the expected.
1 point, or like 1.66. Don't you shoot with Tomax first? Because you got a plasma torque, right?
I know. Oh, he just did Juno. Shot it out of the way. Now it's Tomax. All right, here's that plasma. So spend the lock on 2 blanks. There it is. Spend the focus. That's going to be a couple. It's going to be shield and some damage here.
Yeah.
Dodges 1, takes a shield and 2 cards. Down to 7. And now Merrick, you could dish a crit in there if you get lucky. A little RNG on your side.
Yeah, if you get that, then
hey, there's a crit. Spend hit crit. That's gonna be a pick. He's he's the new pick me girl.
Yeah, if you can fish for either a we got a hull breach, we got
breach. Hull breach for sure.
What were the other 2?
Wounded.
Because like I would go for a blinded pilot but it was wounded. Yeah, I would. If it was blinded or weapons failure, either one of those. But hull breach is super good. Two hits and an eye. Yeah, spend a focus. Yeah, goodbye, Juno. Thanks for playing.
Oof, that's huge.
Yeah. It's a unfortunate loss. Now double tapping into Merrick. Got 1. Rerolled into a crit.
Merrick takes a shield.
And then check for mouse.
Yeah, range 3 obstructed.
Yep. Did he? Oh, the action was to grab the objective. I was like, did he take an action?
Oh, hit crit.
And they're going to be crits no matter what.
Yeah.
So
rolls 2 evades.
2 evades. That's
had a strong focus there too. Yeah. That's that for this turn. 1-1. So it's 5-1. Oler Andross takes a nice little commanding early lead here. But we do have Soontier coming up on the flank of a 6-point Star Fortress with a hull breach right now.
Yeah. That Star Fortress has the possibility to not see the light of day. To not see another engagement. Could hard stop and goof with Soontier there, but I think Soontier is still kind of okay with that. Just range 0 and would probably get a focus if you did a 2-bank. Mouse, I assume, is going to barrel roll.
Was that not outmaneuver? Oh, does Mouse have outmaneuver?
Mouse has outmaneuver. Yeah. But it was range 3, right?
Range 3.
So you got range 3.
He rolled 3 dice, right?
He rolled. I thought he only rolled 2, but I could be wrong.
Can we check the log? I think it was 3.
He rolled 3, so yeah, he rolled too many.
I'll talk to him. Hey guys, you were outmaneuvered, Finch. So you should have only rolled 2.
No, he rotated the arm.
Oh, you rotated. When did you do that? My bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
After the shot.
Oh, so rude to
second
interrupt.
shot.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
He's
He
got a
rotated
turret
after
arc.
he rotated the turret after the shot. So at one point it was facing the other way, and I think that's why we were like,
Yep.
oh, because he can do that, huh? Every time.
Yeah, he's got page. So that's one of the cool things with the M9G8 is like, oh, I had this pointing to the side. Now it's pointing forward. You know, it's a really strong build. Your outmaneuver is just in arc.
Yeah. Yeah, outmaneuver is it's for your attack. Has to be a primary front arc attack. We can look at the card. Or look at former if you're not in the defender's firing arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right, we're all wrong. One of the worst feelings is jumping in and telling the players something that they did wrong, and you were wrong, and it's like oof, and you're like, nope.
Well, at least on that one, at least on that one, it's just like, oh, we thought that it was forward. All right, so we got the 2 hard from Cat, 1 bank from Logistics, who's going to coordinate, turn down that whole breach. Good call.
Yeah.
Mouse, probably just evade, or evade, which gives you a calculate because you can always barrel roll with your whatever that thing's called. What's the sensitive controls? There's that hard
Stopping.
stop.
Okay.
Yep.
No block soon tier.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I think you're kind of okay with that.
Oh,
Tommy.
I don't know if you want to stay there. You try to block Poe though, like just barrel roll. Do you barrel roll lock?
I mean, you could barrel roll lock. That would get you out of Cat's firing arc, because right now you're taking 2 range ones from Cat and then Finch potentially 2 shots. So.
The two bank focus roll from Merrick would be incredible. Oh my god, it would be so cool.
There's that, and then you still get your target lock, and you don't get the focus this turn because it's every other turn.
Yeah.
But you could still lock that Poe feller. Well, he did a 2 bank, but not the one you were talking about.
Ah.
Hey, you get your proton rocket off on the good old Loggy, onto Loggy. There's the 2 bank.
Sontier's gonna get a decent shot onto the Loggy as well. The focus.
Yeah. I mean, if you take out Loggy, that means that the M9G8 rolls are gone.
Yes, that's huge. So Poe, I think currently has range 1 on. No, looks like out of. Ooh, that's really close. I think it's out of arc. Tomax.
He might have Tomax, but that's very much a might.
Does he have Merrick? No. All right.
So here comes the Poe, or the Poe, but here comes the Suntir.
That's different. He's different than Poe.
Yeah. It's like, do I shoot range 0? Do I shoot it? I think you shoot at the Logistics because you got the most shots into him right now. And again, if you take him out, M9G8 is gone. There you go. Two hits. Get to keep your focus for defense.
Oof. I think it's just 1.
Yep. Poe.
Nothing.
No valid targets. Wow.
Yeah, a turn where Poe's in the middle of the board not shooting is a great turn for Aeriic.
Chicken.
Nothing for Tomax either.
Yep. And
rocket time.
Bullseye range 2 has a procket.
Merrick's ability is active on non-primary attacks. Oof, that's terrible. That's just sucks.
I mean, it's 2 crits though. Oh wait, shields. Yeah. Never mind.
that is you
got
really
an eye,
really
but
hope for
they got rid
three
of
when you roll
shields.
Procket.
But yeah,
Prockets
not
that
great,
only
Bob.
that's terrible. I've seen worse, but like that's still really underwhelming. Now
Yep.
shooting into Merrick, he didn't have to spend his focus.
Yeah. So
What's
he's
worse
got
is
that for
3 blanks and
defense.
2 eyes. That's really bad.
Two crits. Reroll one with the M9G8. 3 crits. Only one. Jeez.
What's the crit?
Loose stabilizer.
It's a loose
Loose stabilizer, I think. He's not going to live anyway. He used Page to rotate, so he's going to double tap. 2 hits. That's good enough. 2 evades. Hey, there you go. So
And then he
now it's
rotates
mouse.
back.
Yeah, he rotated back.
That's dumb. Yeah, you can do that. Like, you can rotate. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Got
can never be
range
outmaneuvered. I mean,
up.
that's good for Andrew. That's really
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Range 1 obstructed, hitting an eye. You could spend the calculate, but you got 2 cat shots coming in at you. Oh, he's checking for. He's got rerolls. Got no escape.
Ugh.
Got an eye. He spent calculate for 2.
Of course. Oh my god, this is just so brutal,
2
dude.
base.
Oh, we've all been there. We've been in Aeric's shoes before. It's like, man, I'm trying. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
All right, here comes Cat. Really wants to get rid of Merrick. So, taking the unmodded range zeros.
Only one. Eric, he's fine. Takes
Got it.
nothing.
All right, now the 2 die attack.
Only one. Merrick, can you roll
One.
another evade?
Merrick
yes,
lives.
2. Right on. Attaboy Merrick.
Now we got the
Now an ion cannon shot. He won't die here, but he could be ionized, which would really blow.
I think
Oh
he was
no! He needs 2 evades not to be ionized. He does. Take 1. Still alive. But
He's
got a loose
stabilizer
too.
so
Yeah.
he's probably doing a 1 or 2 straight anyway. So
Yeah, that's true. But at least you can do a non-1 speed maneuver now if you want.
true.
So 2 to 6, keeping that pressure on. Older doing good here so far. Picked apart Juno after that narrow self bump, took the damage, and then proceeded to die. And that is the difference in the game right now. Each side has the top and bottom of their respective sides scrambled. The middle is unscrambled still. Just hasn't been a good opportunity for anyone to do it. Just ion bomb this turn from Tomax. I expect a 1 bank ion bomb.
Yeah, that seems like a good call there.
Yeah.
Soontir, do you just go over and try and blow up Loggy? 3 straight and blow up Loggy?
Yeah, I think you gotta get some points here. You're running out of time to be able to keep this game close. It wouldn't be through $1 without mentioning money one more time. 3 subs away from our 2 card pack giveaways. 3 subbies.
Do they have to be 6-inch or foot long? What kind of subs are we talking about here?
They're 12.5 inches, actually.
12.5-inch subs.
Have you seen that Nate Bargatze SNL sketches about like America and like it's like we'll use the metric system? It'll be 12 inches to a foot, 3 feet to a yard. And he's like, oh, and then 6 feet for a mile, sir. It's like, no, it'll be 2,100.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I mean, I've lived it, so
yeah, it's very funny. What in the world is Mal Moner? Well, time for you to go to the library and read up on the French legend himself, Mal Moner. Pretty good.
He's really good.
Calculate evade, outmaneuver, full injection override, fuel injection override. While you perform a booster barrel roll, you may spend a charge to use a template with a speed 1 higher instead.
Yeah, he can double barrel roll. essentially.
The only
Not
downside,
double barrel.
if there is one, I guess, is I3. But in XWA, you don't feel bad taking lower initiative stuff.
Yeah, it's not as bad, but I had him blow up to 2 shots one time before, and he never got to play, so I've not played him since.
Yeah.
It's silly field spaz like that.
I've been having a lot of fun playing Jake again.
You like A-Wings? I didn't believe. I don't know.
I do
that.
like A-Wings. Hey, I think people that know that about me, but that was a long time ago when I was playing that stuff.
Yeah, Luke and 3As.
Yeah. Shara. That was a good time.
Yeah.
Talk about challenging, though, man. Your variance, so variance dependent.
Yeah. There we go. We got the mouse super barrel roll.
Does he have sensitive controls?
Yes.
He does? It's not in the card. Or not on the overlay.
Well,
He definitely has it. Yeah, it's just not listed.
Yeah, he has it. Yeah.
Okay.
Dropping that ion bomb, like you said.
Yep.
It's gonna, at the very least, hit Poe. Cat might just one straight and bump Merrick there, but gonna coordinate. Yeah.
A rotate.
Rotate. So yeah, she does the one straight. She don't care.
You are too late. Yeah, we're deep into this game for betting.
Mouse only overlapping. Which Finch? I was thinking Page, but
Is that going to be range 1? That's close. I think it'll be just out of the bomb.
I think it's just out of the bomb. 3 straight. Do you just claim the objective? You're like, I'm gonna die, so I'm just claiming this objective.
Yep. Tomax.
He's got the lock on Poe, so maybe you just focus. Yeah.
Can you do his thing and go all the way back and then get a plasma shot into? I guess it would be range 1, so you don't. I don't know. You just sit there with a focus. I was thinking if you wanted a double mod.
Focus. Got too hard from Soontir. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, could have teamed up on the logistics pilot, but gonna
taking the stressful focus. Poe flipped his wings.
Yeah, he's barrel rolling.
Claim the center objective. Gonna spend 2 charges to barrel roll. Oh,
nope.
He can't boost.
So he will be ionized and hitting a rock next turn.
He will definitely be hitting a rock.
For sure, he is hitting a rock, 100%.
Does not ionize Cat just by a millimeter. But next turn, assuming Tomax still lives, because he's taken 3 shots.
So now do you shoot at Poe? Because he has no tokens, and he will hit a rock next turn and take maybe 2 more damage.
I think you do, because of that reason. He's it stinks to spread out your damage like that, but with Poe facing a rock, yeah, I think you do.
Yep. Poe facing a rock and not going to be taking actions next turn either, so
yeah, he's going to be sitting on the rock next turn. No, okay, yeah, no, that
Paints. 3 hits. Yep. Poe.
There you go.
Taking 1 of 2.
So he will be shields down at the very least next turn.
Yeah.
Poe no shot, most likely. Yeah, I didn't think so. Tomax.
Oh.
Spending it.
That all goes through. Hit, crit. Crit is a hull breach. Not that big of a deal when you're on 2 hull.
Yeah. If Mouse has a shot, Mouse could potentially put the logistics away.
The logistics. That is a pretty far.
Range 1 in the Merrick. Getting rid of him.
You tagged that. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the other Star Fortress. I'm like, he does have arc. Oof. That's going to be 4 points.
You expected him to die this turn.
Oh, he almost nattied, though. He's so close.
He very nearly had it. if he had focused, he would have had it. But I think you
For the
really
objective, it's not
expected
the
to
worst
die.
thing. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Now into Tommy Boy.
He's got to rotate. Yeah, shooting at the other side. He's shooting at Soontir.
Hit crit. Uh-oh.
Crit and a
Soontir
hit.
doesn't like to
Jeez.
see that. Oh, no. Hit crit into
Jeez.
Soontir. It's a
Direct, and he's
direct. And
gone.
of course, that's how he goes. Of course. That's just all of a sudden you were excited about Poe hitting a rock and stuff, and you just lose 8 points worth of ships. And it's 14 to 2. Just like that.
That was...
I am suffocated by that. Oh, my goodness. And you don't even have a shot onto the logistics, so you shoot into Cat instead. Oh, that's...
So, Nick, how do you feel about range 0 shot?
Are you serious?
Because that was a range 0 shot that killed Soontir.
Oh, it was range 0, yeah. Well, it's just like with pilots like Soontir, I'm not trying to play like, oh, you need to defend the aces card, but like they can't afford to get shot at that many.
But,
like range 0 adds more opportunities for expensive ships to die. So
just going from a full health ship to nothing
because of an unmodded shot, 2-die shot. Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
Although, let's be fair, I think Cat would have had a pretty nasty shot into Soontir as well.
But I think you would have been like Cat would have at least had to shoot at him as opposed to getting free shots at other people.
Tomax took 1.
I say free, whatever.
This is into Tomax, it looks like. I think. Oh, this is, sorry, the ion cannon. Yeah, it is. It takes 1 more. And is ionized, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. Oops.
Oh, poor Aeriic. This was unfortunate.
15 to 3. Yeah, I mean, the Star Fortresses, you let them start to just, double tap. Probably okay to let them double tap twice, but if they're doing it a 3rd time, a 4th time, not being able to get Finch here, still has 6 damage left. Yeah, it's tough, man. No bombs on these guys either. Isn't that interesting that they have 2 bombers without any bombs?
Yeah, I mean it's
kind of fun.
The way the loadout for this particular one goes.
Small violin playing in the background for Soontir. Okay, all right. Well, feels bad when you're playing with Soontir, but you don't feel bad when you're playing against, or if you just hate Soontir in general. Two subs away now. Looks like it updated to 128 out of 130 for the first giveaway goal.
Oh no, Cat took a damage.
Oh no. Fair enough, Greg. Oh no. Mouse hits a rock.
Well, at least this one you can blame on yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Aeric's made 2 fatal mistakes in this game. I don't know how much different the game is, but Juno died because of that. So
yeah.
But Mao is on 2 now. And I think he took a crit, right? No, it's face down. Rocks are face down.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't take a crit on that.
And Poe ionized onto the rock, takes shield, and does he take 1 more? He does. So 2 ships rocked and sitting on 1 in the same turn. Dude, being able to do both sounds like just like a complete It just, it's like negligence. Shouldn't be able to do both. Definitely too good. For sure. I wouldn't like it. All right, you'll have range 1 on Mao. You can't see because of the dies in the way. Just realized the betting thing, I never took it down. So people are like, can I bet? It's like, no, of course not. It's too late. And then the thing says bet. That's, yeah, classic. Yeah. Classic gaslighting of a chat move. Okay.
I mean, Eric's got that going for him. All right, now comes the range 1 attack from Cat.
Oof.
Do it.
That's gonna be not gonna be dead.
All 3.
Oh. Re-rolling again for some reason. What happened there?
I don't know.
Just like picked up his green dice and re-rolled.
Oh, because he rolled before Cat modified.
Oh.
So
I did that the other day on stream by accident, and we just kept the roll, and I felt weird about it, but it did, like, neither of us seemed to, like, my opponent didn't mind. But I was like, oh, because I thought he had a focus, so I started rolling my defense dice and then realized he was spending a lock. But I don't know. I've seen people do both, so I've had that debate before about rolling too early and waiting. You should always wait.
You should.
But I mean, in that case, I don't know. I wouldn't have. I thought the dice were modified already in this case here. Guess not. He gets to choose mouse twice with Finch, right? But he picked up his defense dice twice. I didn't see the attack dice get rolled again, so I just was lost.
He doesn't get to shoot. Oh yeah, he does, because he could rotate to the rear. Never mind.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should keep the roll, especially because when I've streamed games, including like Team League playoff games, I've seen people roll too early and keep the roll. So I'm like, okay, well, you can't make the person re-roll only when it benefits you. Like, I just think deciding, Nick, you big cheater, you should re-roll.
I think
that's what I do, baby.
It's a discussion the player should have before the modification has.
So here's the thing though, Matt, right? Is that it benefits the attacker when you roll too early. So I think keeping the roll just makes sense. Like you punish yourself by doing that. The attacker can see what you rolled and make decisions on what to do with their dice. I think that should be, if you go that route and you make them keep the roll, the attacker gets to see what you rolled because you blew it.
I'm with Greg, and the rule that he had, and he even posted it in chat, decline the penalty. It's like you can. If your opponent made the mistake and you're like, listen, that was your mistake, I decline to have you re-roll because you rolled crap.
Yeah. I said it's like, do we, do I keep this? Like, I'd talk to him. He's like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like it's fine.
Okay.
I think him spending the lock though, after he saw, like, he should have been able to decide whatever he wanted to do with that. I had rolled enough results anyway, so he could have just been like, well, I'm not gonna. I think I would have been fair. I would have been fine with that because that's on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get why the decline the penalty thing was added because of stuff like that. But it's just like it's the inconsistency of people, and typically players don't decide or talk about that before their game starts, what you're going to do in that situation. So it just happens and it's awkward.
This game is over, by the way.
Yeah, this game is GG'd. What's the final score after scramble? 22-5.
6. They have 6-20.
20-6.
Yeah, because he scored 3 points last round for all the objectives.
So early. I'm gonna close the bet.
Yeah.
Oh, Oler wins and will win Swiss. There's a decent chance that he plays somebody else for the final, I believe. We'll have to see. They could rematch, which would be, I think Aeriic would probably like that opportunity to rematch after.
Yeah, it's like, it's as sad as that was. I feel like getting this back, he'd be like, yeah, I want another hack at that.
Yeah. This game's been over. Right, I mean, you're not wrong. It has been over for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna charge my headset, so
okay. I'll be here chatting with the chat.
Yep. All right.
Players should simply do what's fair and discuss it when it happens, while keeping in mind a mistake or two is bound to happen. Yeah, I mean, Like it was just a mistake, so I just didn't think much of it. And I try to like, okay, so the thing is I have a biased perspective in that moment because I'm playing and I got the results I needed, but I'm trying to think about what would happen if I rolled 4 blanks or my opponent did early and we're like, shit, I rolled too soon. I'm going to pick them up and re-roll again into 3 evades like that. It's unfair in that sense, as unfair as it was in my example of when I accidentally rolled early. So that's why the decline the penalty thing existed, but it doesn't exist anymore, right? So like that's where it's like really just kind of a, for me, I wouldn't make my opponent re-roll. It's just because I haven't in the past. I just don't like, I've seen it when I've streamed games where someone has like rolled too early and they're like, oh, I was on one hole, I rolled, 1 less evade than I needed to, but I rolled too early, I'm going to pick up and re-roll in a natty evades. And it's like, like, would that person have kept the roll if they rolled natty evades in the first place? And that's what I'm getting at, is like the ethical or bias immoral dilemma around like choosing when you can apply the rule and not, The ones where I'm like, no, I'm not re-rolling is when the opponent signals they're done modifying. Yeah, I think the other thing is, and this isn't any shade against my opponent, super cool. But there was like no communication. So like the dice were rolled. Look, 5 seconds of just dead silence. So I picked up my dice again. Should have waited. I just re-rolled them. I just assumed in that case he had rolled like eyeball hit or something, right? And I was like, oh well, his other ship just shot at me and had a focus. This one has a focus too. He's gonna spend it. It's gonna be 3 hits. I'll just roll my dice because I know he's spending his focus here. Like he's not getting shot at, whatever. And but yeah, just like the dead silence. Like it's important to talk through your games, to talk through your roles, to talk through what you're doing, because this is a social game that requires you talking about playing, because you're playing with another person. So I guess I wouldn't fault somebody if, like, in that case is kind of a small minor example, but if somebody is like just not talking to you and just, I had this game on NCX with someone years ago where my opponent just wasn't talking and would just sit there and stare at their dice for like 10, 20, 30 seconds. And I just pick up my dice and roll. It's like, there's no communication. So I was like, okay. Like, that's like 3 hits or just nothing. And I'm like, all right, like you got to talk. It's another reason why I don't like playing with no voice. You kind of need to talk. I don't games through chat. I'm good. What if someone rolls too many defense dice, but that roll is actually garbage? Do you get them to re-roll the right number of dice? Well, yeah, I mean, they've rolled. Unfortunately, that is an edge, or not an edge case, but I guess it is kind of an edge case. It doesn't happen all the time, where like the rules or the etiquette that has been acknowledged by the community that you do is that you have to roll the right number of dice. Like that, you're just like, you rolled too many dice. And so that's what feels bad with our confirmation bias. Like Andre is talking from a confirmation bias perspective. And I agree, like it feels bad when your opponent does that. That happened to Duncan once. I played Duncan at top 16 at Gen Con a couple years ago. The dude never rolls blanks. He's super good at the game. He's amazing. He's one of the best in the world. And he rolled too many dice and rolled a very suboptimal result and then picked them up and rolled natties. And I was like, that feels bad, but that's the way the game's played. That's what I just spit all over the place. That's what you got to do. And I was like, well, that sucks, but whatever. What is with you guys in apologizing for your games? Like, I don't care. You're good, dude. Would I have preferred it to be closer? Sure. We've had good games on stream today, though. Last game ended up being a 2-point game, first round. Second round, we're good. You're good. He has a chance to rematch against you too. If I mean, like, I almost want that for Aeriic just because he'd have a chance to rematch. But like, you're good, man. Like you Canadians and apologizing, man. You're Gucci. Well played. I think we should always re-roll. Sometimes it can suck for one player or the other, but it's consistent. But that's the thing, is it's not consistent. Like, it might be consistent in that one instance in your one game, but like, it's not. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing in any official document that says what you do in that situation if you roll too early. I'm pretty sure that doesn't exist. I think there is just people who have their own house rules or their own local game store rules that they've like created, and I think that's totally fair. Like, you just play with that. But you can't like put that on someone else and be like, well, that's what we play with at our game store. You got to re-roll your dice, bub. It happens. It shouldn't happen much. It should happen 0.5% of the time you play. Meanwhile, Greg is hanging out with you at 3 a.m. I didn't say that. I never said that. Yeah, too few and too many. So that's the thing, is like the garbage roll thing, and like that's why you implemented the decline the penalty thing, which my take on that, Greg, is that like some people take the draft league too seriously, and it's not your fault. But I think that at the time, the decline the penalty thing kind of acknowledges like, hey, it's okay if this is a hyper competitive environment because competing is fun. But the intention behind it itself is fine. Like, it's like, it never bothered me. I just think like, turning that into a situation where you're, like, no, like, this is it. Like, there's some casual player who's played 30 games of X-Wing in their TTS career. It's like, declined. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. The official rules is that roll was for run. Didn't happen in the correct window, so it wasn't part of the game. You re-roll, which is just the regular. Yeah, I mean, so then you argue about the window of it. You just like, hey, I was an accident, and then you go right back to this dilemma that we're talking about, being like, what do I do here? You can call a judge, and and judges will have different. Some judges will be like, well, you re-roll, and then that person picks up the dice. Like, would you call a judge if that person rolled poorly? No, you wouldn't. That's the problem here, is you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, well, you blanked out early. Like, I know you guys. What would I do? I wouldn't call a judge. They roll natty of eights. I'm like, well, judge, was it in the right timing window? What do you do? And the judge probably, not everyone, and certain judges are going to have different perspectives on this as well. The judges might think about the whole, well, your opponent gets an advantage from you doing that because they see what you rolled already during their time, their roll window, their modification step area, whatever you call it, Q, all the words. So it's like, well, regardless of the results, like, you tipped your hand and rolled too early, so the roll stays. I'm just saying, I think it's an interesting conversation. This is my take on it. I think whatever direction you choose to take this argument, there are problems with it. It's a wonderful thing. Ethics, X-Wing dice ethics. Andre, I feel like you had a specific circumstance or experience with this that is really near and dear to you. Just judging by, with respect, what I'm saying is, judging by the way you're talking about it, you have a very intense view on it. I think that's like, no one's gonna do that. No one's gonna pick up their dice and constantly re-roll. Like, this is like a oopsie doopsie thing. So, if it were from a place of malintent, which you can't possibly know what your results are going to be when you roll too early, sure, but I think every judge is making you roll again. I know Maui has. I think Maui said you re-roll. I think the argument is, for me, is the way people react to it when it does benefit them, and not acting on it when it does benefit them, because it benefits them. Is like, hey, I'm all for cut and dry if it's consistent. If it's like you always re-roll, like, dude, you guys probably think I'm like, no, you should be able to keep the roll. I'm saying that, like, you shouldn't be able to keep the roll ever. If it benefit, like, but people in competitive environments will let it slide when it helps them or the results are beneficial to them. So it's the onus is on the player to call a judge or to make the case or make them re-roll even when they blanked out. So does that make sense? That's where I'm coming from. Okay, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Yeah, that's annoying. I mean, that sucks, dude. I'm sorry. Fast Blue Tricycle, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. That puts us at 1 away from the goal. Yeah. He's right. No, he's right. It should be consistent, but the issue is just we just know for a fact, the fact that we're having this conversation is that it's not, and that it's not policed consistently by players, because players are like, you can't expect me to monitor that or to know what's going on with everyone's roles or the etiquette of each game, right? Greg can't do that. Players that are not playing can't do that. It's on the players. It's like the same thing with like game state stuff, really. It's, you know, people, what's another example? I mean, just like people not keeping track of things that it's on them to keep track of. Hey, Joe, thanks so much. Appreciate gifting the sub to get us to our goal. Let me make sure we still have some time. We got 24 minutes left. Damn, I thought I was talking a lot longer than that, but we will do Cloudbot to at least do a giveaway here. Stand by while I check off our first goal. Stand by. Bonanza giveaways. Save that. Hey, thank you, Greg. Appreciate you, dude. Thanks for watching, by the way. Nope, my sub renews. Nice. Awesome. I'm not sure if that's counted already, because, like, what sucks is, like, people resub, and because it already counts, like, it'll be like, well, you get 5 subs a moment ago? Why did none of those count? Because they didn't. Like, Twitch counts it early. But either way, that means, in terms of the goals, like, counting, but that means a lot. Thank you for continuing to be subscribed. Appreciate it. I am so itchy. It's the allergies. What you're talking about is essentially players cheating. So, like, did I cheat in that moment, like playing with Walter? Like, I'm not a cheater, but, like, maybe I did. Like, by this conversation, I did, or but at the same time, I talked with my opponent about it. I didn't, like, make the decision myself, which I think is a super shitty thing to do and very unfair. Like, he was fine with it. In that case, I didn't know. So, you know, hindsight's 2020. It's like, oh, you're just saying that now because you won. Like, yeah, I mean, that was with Gavin, who had still had a decent amount of health by the end of the game. I think he had like 4 health. So unlikely to die in that game, but at that point, but still. And then I guess the other thing that I used to cope with is that maybe I rolled the same results again on 4 dice, so I rolled 2 evades again. The odds are okay for that. Should have re-rolled. You're probably right. I apologize. But I did talk to my opponent about it. I was like, hey, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a strong word to say that I cheated there, just because I, like, did I cheat if I rolled 4 blanks? I guess I guess by that logic I did still cheat. I rolled a shitty roll or 2 early and cheated. A bad kind of cheating, the cheating that hurts yourself. But I think people in the chat would be, like, mad at me if I picked up and re-rolled into 4 evades. That's, like, right back to the whole, like, inconsistency across the X-Wing community, and not just, like, you know, contained in one space. If you have the house rules and play that way, then that's totally cool. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and it's easy to tell. Like, I'm obviously not someone who's known for doing that. It was actually kind of a unprecedented thing for me to do. Felt really weird, but I was like, ooh, like I just kind of picked up my dice right away and rolled them. Like I thought you had a focus token that you were spending. Just like invented all this shit in my head about what was going on. Although I think that chat would assume your opponent made you not re-roll. Yeah, I know you guys were talking about when that happened in the game. There was a little bit of saltiness. And I was like, oh, you should have to re-roll. That's fair. As long as I just don't have faith in like a tournament of like 32 people or worlds or whatever if people all playing it by the same what am I trying to say? By the same rule. Honestly, there should just be a rule about it. Like we can do that with XWA easily, but like with AMG on the AMG event side of things, for those who are still playing, just saying something like, hey, this is, you know, officially, like, make sure you guys, you know, just like when you roll too many or too few. Yeah, I said, oh, is that like a guy? Like I said, oh, I'm sorry, I rolled too much, and he's like, no, it's okay. Like, all right, roll too early. He's like, no, it's fine, doesn't matter or whatever. That was the, you know, back and forth acknowledgement. But there was definitely an area for me to re-roll. I should have just done. I should have been better and just picked up and re-rolled, honestly. So that part's on me. Stop making us come up with shit. Are you talking about me, or are you just talking about like in general about like coming up with a rule for it? I don't think I'm making anyone come up with shit. I'm just pushing for there to be like an official rule on it, ruling, so that we can stop having to feel bad or argue about it. You know, for me, the timing really matters. Like if you wait after they roll reds, then roll greens, then they quickly mod, I wouldn't re-roll unless asked. But if you quickly roll greens, obviously out of order, before they may even have a chance to mod, you need to re-roll, no debate. Yeah, so that's basically what, like, yeah, that's what, and he rolled his dice, and I pretty quickly picked up mine and rolled them. He rolled all paints, and in my head, I was like, he has a focus token. And so I should have re-rolled. Yeah. There was like, it was just silence after he rolled, so it was just like, and so I just kind of hastily rolled my dice. It was not even like a justifiable reason to do it. I just, in my own little pea-sized head, was like, oh, okay, we're good. This is the result. So you spend your focus here. You get 3 hits. I'm going to roll this much. Like I was about to take damage on Gavin because I had rolled less evades than the paint results that he rolled, but then he didn't have a focus and he spent his lock and all this. And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. They should make a rule and stop. Yeah, fair enough. Let me check in with the Bonanza here really quick, and then we'll do our giveaway. I have to pull up Nightbot for that. We'll go to the giveaway screen for a second. I'm not sure, this screen still like lags when I load it. I don't know why. I've tried rebuilding the assets in it. Nightbots. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I didn't get the vibe that you guys thought that I was like cheating. To me, cheating is when you do things with malintent, so I don't call it cheating when you don't. But you know, I'm still doing something wrong. Like, we agree on that. I did it wrong. That was wrong. But at the same time, like, yeah, you can accidentally cheat. Like, yeah, when you do something that benefits you, it's by accident, it's still like, you know, it's semantics. I just don't use that word for everything. Why is this is not what a Nightbot login, Nightbot, okay. How are we looking with the tournaments? Mm-hmm. All right, we have 2 4-0s. It's gonna be it's not gonna be a rematch. It's gonna be CIS against Resistance. That's fun. That's awesome. Okay, that'll be really cool. I have only been cheated against like one time, and it was subtle enough where I will still ask myself if they were cheating. I've never seen an obvious malice in one of my games, and only twice while watching someone else on stream. Those times were obviously with malice. Yeah. Trying to think of other examples that are like nuanced and weird that like aren't like cheating but like kind of are. Like one thing that happens in real life that really bothers me that I have to argue with people about. I called one player on it once, and again, I don't think he did anything. Sorry, we'll do the giveaway in a second. That's the story I got to get out of my brain. I don't think he did anything. He wasn't being malicious, but he had a shot with like Poe Falcon. We're playing at a local event, and he pulled, like, I had the boys coming up at his front, and he grabbed a range 2 ruler and was like checking for, I think he was checking for a target lock or something, but he like put it down and like was checking arc on one of my ships, and I was like, hey, you need the range 3 ruler, you can't do that, like you get like there's no such thing as a range 2 ruler as well. It's not a well, there is, I guess, with the templates you can win at events, but like, you know, in the game box, right, it's just the range 3, and like when you check for a target lock, you grab the range 3. You don't grab a range 1, range 1.5, or range 2. You grab the range 3 and you check for valid targets. So that instance, I called him out. The other instance that similar to what people do when they check target locks is they check their arc on things. They like put it down and check if they have things in their arc, and you're not supposed to. You can fudge that because you're allowed to use the ruler and check around your ship, but you can't like put it down on the firing arc and like check arc on things. That's not how that works when you're taking a target lock. That's shady. I don't like that. Don't do that. Like this is again an IRL thing. So that's my soapbox for that. Let's see. What are you saying, Sherman? What are we? I missed something. I find a lot of people describe a situation where it sounds to me like their opponent was clearly cheating, mostly in games, and they're always hesitant. People are really hesitant to accuse people even if it's clear and obvious. Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. That's another reason why this whole thing about re-rolling and stuff, people don't do the right thing. Whether it be something as silly as like a ambiguous thing about rolling too early, which we can all agree you should not do that, versus someone slow playing, like obviously slow playing, and you don't call a judge, and then you bitch to everyone about it after, and it's like, you didn't do anything about it, you know, and then everything in between that. Nuanced way that I'm discussing above was influencing the judge several times in the games because the person is X-Wing famous. The hey judge question. Oh yeah, I've heard about that, and I hate that very much. The other thing that I recommend you guys, this is just a thing that you should do as someone who used to give my opponents the benefit of the doubt, is when checking things like bullseyes, checking for scenario actions when it's close, bombs, anything. Call a judge if it's really close. Because I had a game at PAX where I was going to take a procket, and it was just assumed that he had bullseye, and we called the judge over, and he did not have bullseye. And that was a really big deal, right? It's just like those moments where your opponent just kind of steamrolls you into just going through with the game state and firing the procket. They they have the bullseye. Like even if they check, like call a judge if it's close. It's just you feel so good about it. It's impartial. You're doing the right thing. You're giving yourself the best chance, and you're making it fair. So, X-Wing tips from Nick. Yeah, both players are responsible for the game state. I would never guilt my opponent into letting me do something when I missed it and it was my fault and my responsibility. So, at PAX, I was playing against Mandalorian. He had the child. I forgot Merciless Pursuit. He's like, ah, crap, I gotta remember Merciless Pursuit. He's like, you can take it. You can take the lock. And this was like when we were planning. And it's like, nah, dude, like, that's unfair. And he's like, well, I would feel bad if I didn't let you do it. And I said, well, I would feel bad if I took advantage of that because that's my fault and my responsibility. And you should feel good that you offered at best, which you don't even need to because that's not how the game works. You don't have to offer. Like, you shouldn't feel bad because that's my fault. Never feel bad for your opponent's mistakes. Don't let them guilt you into letting them do something that would be nice to let them do, but they shouldn't be able to do because it is a competitive game. You're trying to win a game. So if you didn't do it, you didn't do it. You know? Check if 404 engaged. That's yeah, that's a tough one too. It's I think one thing with that is like if your opponent is like kind of leading you, like leading, be like, okay, next this ship now, and then you're like, oh, okay, and then you fire with that one. We're like, oh fuck, we didn't do this one. That should have shot. Like it's a similar thing with like the system phase where your opponent doesn't acknowledge the system phase because hey, they don't have any system phase triggers. You do, and they just say, all right, my one, and you're like, okay, and then they start moving. And you're like, fuck, I have a system phase. And you're like, oh, it's too late, man. It's too late. And that's why there was like a rule about acknowledging the phases of the game because like that's really, people are upset about that. They're like, that's why my opponents remember. But if you're skipping past stuff or one player has nothing to do with that phase, then they will never acknowledge it. It can create an opportunity to steamroll people into not letting them do things that they should have the ability to, the time, the opportunity to do it, right? Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, I feel awkward always. Always awkward when I interrupt. I try my best. It has to be like so obvious, and it's usually not about someone forgetting to engage. I never ever personally intervene when that happens, unless it's like a console fire thing, And if that ship that has console fire and they skipped that ship's shot by accident, like that's not my fault. Like they still have to roll the die, and if they just shoot, they want to shoot with that ship. Like that's awkward, but that's a weird fringe case that doesn't really happen. Yeah, just like be what's the word for it? Just like be considerate, right? Like when you should always, like when you roll a die and it looks cocked, ask your opponent and make sure you get a verbal confirmation on it before you pick it up. People don't do that, and that is not courteous and could be perceived as cheating, depending on, people try to make arguments with judges. When I was at Worlds, people would ask me if a die was cocked. It was flat on top of one of their pilot cards. It's like, how is that cocked? It's like, well, it's not flat. It's not on the mat. That's they're trying to cheat in that instance because they want to re-roll the die because they didn't like the result. That's cheating. So, but they asked me if they could cheat. I said no, can't. Yeah, don't touch it. Another etiquette thing is if you bump somebody's ship, you let them fix it. You say, I bumped this ship, you acknowledge it, say, I barely nudged it. Is this where it was? How do you feel about this? You can tweak it if you need to. And yes, then that opens up the area for somebody to fudge something a little bit. And then, you know, 2 turns later, you end up getting bullseye. Maybe you wouldn't have, but you made that mistake. You bumped their ship. It is only the right thing to do to acknowledge it, to ask them if they like where it is, if that seems correct. And if it's not correct, for them to be able to be the one to make the adjustment, because that's their ship that you bumped and that's your fault for bumping it. Unfortunately, this is the shit you deal with when you play in person. I have weighted bases on my ships to try to avoid like things sliding, but like it happens, man. Especially when you're playing against like FO with the huge spokes on the silencer or the bombers. Like you can clip stuff all the time when you're checking range for something or arc or whatever. It's like X-Wing is kind of a silly dumb game in a lot of ways, and like we all like fuck up marking something sometimes. You know, it's the judges, like their margin for error is 0 and they're not allowed to have a margin for error. We are, and it's like, it's shitty for them and nerve wracking. Like, yeah. So when does the final sire need to get going? In 2 hours? Very soon. Time is going to be, we're going to reset the room here. So Andrew Oler will be playing in the final, and it looks like it'll be against CIS and Jorge, I believe. Not Castaneda though. But yeah, all right. We want to load the room here. A good chat, guys. Appreciate the conversation. Prizes win. I'll raffle off prizes by the end of the weekend. I promise. I might not do it right away. If you leak into direct, I'm sorry, Tharkad. And we want to switch mats. Oh, I can't do that without changing colors. Final. All right, y'all. We'll be back. Going to break for a little bit, just a few minutes.